What's up YouTube, and welcome to the Anabolic Outpost. In this edition, I present to you Anabolic Ridiculous Brownies. If you are unfamiliar with the concept of ridiculous brownies, this concept uses Diet Coke, which is a lot different than most anabolic brownie recipes which use something like almond milk. This gives it a whole different flavor and makes it very similar to the consistency that you would get with a real brownie. Another positive to this recipe is it has very few ingredients, which makes it extremely simple to make. And before this video starts, I would also like to give a quick shout out to LocalRecipes98 on Instagram. She came up with the original idea of ridiculous brownies and was the first person to add Diet Coke instead of milk in her anabolic brownie recipe. She has many other great recipes, so I will be linking her Instagram down below. The first thing you will need for this recipe is protein powder, and I am using PE Science chocolate cupcake flavor. I do highly recommend that you use this protein powder because if you use something different, I can't guarantee that you'll get the same results. Next is your 0-calorie sweetener of choice. I am using sucralose. Erythritol also works great for this recipe. Oat flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, salt, and finally it brings it all together, Coke Zero Sugar. Alternatively, you could also use Diet Coke. Before we start, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. The first step of this recipe is to mix the dry ingredients together, and the first thing that I'm adding is 36 grams of protein powder. Next, I am adding in 63 grams of cocoa powder, Next, I am adding 60 grams of oat flour, Next thing I'm adding is 5/8 cup worth of sweetener. Depending on the sweetener you use, you're going to have to just convert it and see how much sweetener you could add for that. But if you're using sucralose, it's going to be about 5/8 cup. And I don't have a 5/8 cup for a measurement, so I just have a half cup that's a little overflowing. And finally, the last things that I'm adding are a pinch of salt and 2 grams of baking powder. Now that all the dry ingredients are in the bowl, I'm just going to go ahead and mix them together until they are evenly distributed. Alright, now you should have a decently brown dry ingredient mix. And now comes in the secret ingredient, which is 0 sugar Coke. And you definitely don't want to put it in there all at the same time. You just want to put a slow stream as you are mixing it in together. And pouring it in slowly is really just the best way to go for the best consistency. And for the Coke, you're going to want to add 300 grams of it. And I don't have it fully mixed just yet, but once all the Coke is in there, then you could add an optional ingredient, which is chocolate chips. It definitely is optional because it is going to add a few extra calories to your brownies, but if you want that chocolate chip brownie texture in there, it's never a good idea to leave them out. And now you can see I'm pretty much fully mixed together and it's starting to come together like a brownie batter would. Now it is ready to transfer into a 9x9 cooking dish. And also, before you pour it in there, you're just going to want to hit it with a quick spray of some cooking oil. The batter isn't overly thick, so it's not that much of a pain to get it out of the bowl and make sure it is flat in the dish. And once you have it in the pan, you're probably just going to want to hit it on your counter a couple times to make sure it's completely flat, and then you have a brownie tray that is ready to go. And now you're going to throw it into the oven, and you're going to want to set the timer for 20 minutes. It might be a little bit over, it depends on the oven. Mine ended up being good after the 20 minutes, but I was really going for that moist brownie texture. If you want it a little bit stiffer, then make sure to go for a little extra time. And here's what it's supposed to look like once it's done baking. It's definitely a darker brownie, but that has a lot to do with the Diet Coke because the Diet Coke is dark itself. And in most brownies recipes, like I said before, it usually uses milk, which makes it a little bit more of a milk chocolate color. But this is definitely some dark chocolate brownies. But don't get me wrong, they taste delicious. You may also notice that they're pretty thin, but I am more of an edge brownie person, so I wanted to make them thin to make the most edges as possible. But if you're more of a center brownie person, you might want to double up the recipe so that it is the most juiciness it could be. And now you could slice them up into individual squares. This is what it looks like if you're curious. I don't know if it's just me, but I could definitely see that moistness through the screen. And in case you were wondering what the macros are on this, it's going to be 42 grams of protein with 80 grams of carbs, 17 grams of fiber, and 11 grams of fat for a total of 595 calories for the entire thing. So that's pretty much all there is to it for this recipe tutorial. If you have any questions regarding substitutions or anything like that, don't hesitate to drop a comment down below and I will get back to you with any questions that you have or any suggestions that you have for the recipe in the future. I might just make an update video and make a whole new ridiculous brownie. And that pretty much goes for all my recipes. If you have a way to do it better, comment down below because I definitely want to hear them. And if it's way better than my original one, I will do an updated version and give you credit. Other than that, if you enjoyed this recipe tutorial, be sure to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me and helps this channel grow. And thank you for watching.